Hi, welcome to Part of My Frenchie. This is me, 143. If you don't have a friend, you have a few now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, if you are here, welcome to Frenchie night at 8 p.m. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Tuesday is Pet Loss Tuesday. So I hope that you can join us on Pet Loss Tuesday as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are here, welcome. Say hello in the chat if you are here. If you're new here, welcome as well. Today is Frenchie Friday nights, where this is kind of an open forum for everyone. Hello, beautiful moderator. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, so this is just kind of an open forum. We're going to talk a couple different things, but feel free to chime in and jump in. Hello, Dave. Dave and Violet are here. Woohoo! How come Patty never has Violet? Always Dave has Violet. Does Violet always just sit with Dave and not Patty? I always notice Dave always chimes in with Violet, not Patty. Does Dave always sit with Violet? But we are on Frenchie Friday nights. I hope everybody kind of likes the 8 p.m., moving it from 7 to 8. I think that's a little bit nicer, especially with the weather. We've got the weather that is we're going into spring, summertime now, and I think a lot of people like to enjoy it. I was doing the same thing myself today. Got a chance to sit outside now that my hours have changed at work a little bit. So I used to work on Friday nights. Oh, Violet's always sitting with you. It doesn't shock me, but yeah. So now that my hours days and hours of work has changed, Fridays work a little bit better than Saturdays do. So, and then, like I said, with summer and spring, it was such a beautiful day today. I think it was up to 82, 83. So just being able to sit outside today and take in the beautiful just day for a little bit, was able to run around and get some things done. And, we have this auction place by our house, and I love the auctions, which they're good and they're bad, right? I get a lot of cool things off the auction site. I don't know if a lot of people don't have it. We have these auction sites, and basically what it is it's a site, and it's for people that go, if you have hello Patty, welcome, 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 welcome. So the auction site is basically people that buy stuff off of Amazon or Temu or wherever the hell they buy stuff on. And, they return it. I don't know how it ends up at the auction. I don't know if these companies don't want their stuff back or how it happens. But anyways, so instead of, I guess, going back to these companies, it goes to auction, to which, then it's listed on this website where people like me get a chance to bid on it. And it's in all different kinds of conditions. So it can be in brand new condition, it can be in as is condition, it just depends. So you have to be very, very careful. I've gotten some really great stuff, and I've gotten some stuff that's been kind of icky, so that I've had to throw away. But once you buy it, it is yours and you are stuck with it. So like I said, so today, and it can be unfortunately, it can be very, very addicting. But you can get some really great stuff. I mean, I know that, I'll be going camping next month. So I was on the auction site today, and they had this really cool, camping, outside camping cot thing. And I'm like, well, I know we're going to be sitting outside by the fire, and I've got a 12-year-old, and how great would it be to be able to sit by the fire and have something comfy to sit on? So there's this great camping cot, and I thought, well, that's cool. So, you get on there, and it's really cool. It's really long and nice and comfortable. And, I bid on it. The thing was normally, I think, $112. Hey, Michelle, welcome, welcome, welcome. I think this thing was $112 normally. I got it for $10 or $11, and it's brand new in the box. So, the site has its perks for sure. I got that, and then, there was a purple motorcycle helmet for kids. My son has an e-bike, and he he likes to take some of his friends on the back of his e-bike, and a lot of times they don't have helmets. The friends, he has a helmet, friends don't. So, and one of his really good friends is a girl. So I'm like, oh, how cool would that be to so you could take his one friend who's a girl on the back with a purple helmet. So, and that brand new helmet was, $5-6. And so the auction definitely has its perks. But like I say, you can get all sorts of things on there if you I've got a dog wheelchair over there. I've got these dog steps. I've got quite a few dog steps, which Rosie just walked up on. I've got ones for the bed. I've got all sorts of things. So, hey, Erin, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello. Yay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Friday Frenchie Nights. So, yay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are happy that you're here. So yeah, these auction nights are great. Like I said, they're addicting, and I think the moderator and the co-producer get really mad at me because I I go to these auction places a little too much sometimes, and as the moderator knows, I tend to get some things that are rather heavy, and then they have to end up carrying them for me. So, but needless to say, you do too get mad, because then you end up having the moderator. She says she does not get mad. Well, she doesn't get mad when I buy her things, but she gets mad when she has to tote it around and carry all the heavy stuff for me. But she always makes fun of me because I will get some rather heavy things. But needless to say, they are good. It's good stuff. So typically, unless it's a dud. So if it's a dud, then then we're in trouble. But then I have to throw it out, and then nobody likes that. So, but hopefully, more than likely, it's typically good stuff. So, but we've had, like I said, 80-degree weather today. I'm curious, Erin and Michelle, what kind of weather have you guys been having today? What's the weather like in Canada and New Zealand today? Because like I said, we had a beautiful sunny and 82, 80, I think it was between 82 and 85. And Dave and Patty, what was your weather today? I didn't even check what Chicago weather was today. Cool and overcast, still not warm, really? Like what temperature wise, what were you at like? Well, you know what, Erin, this past week we were up in we were up in the Boston area, and it was really overcast and rainy all week. So, and it was really cold, probably like in the 50s. So, and that was Massachusetts up by, Canada and so forth. So yeah, I could see that as well. But, we're finally hitting that spring, summer, which I'm totally looking forward to. I'm more of a, I like all my seasons, but I do like, oh, you guys are rainy and upper 60s. Huh. I'll be darned. Yeah, we had really nice weather today. We were very, very lucky today. Oh, Coco is biting on my thing again. She's going to get it. I just scared her. So, I think there's about 50s. Yeah, see, that's how it was when we were in Boston too. We had a week of rain and flooding. Oh, freezing snow. Wow. See, you guys all need to come to Ohio for the week. We're having really good weather here. Which, you know what, but see, everybody, a friend of mine, my friend that she lives in Florida. And oh, good. I'm glad it's warming up finally. My friend that lives in Florida, she's my friend she's a pilot, and I love her dearly. She's one of my best friends, and she, anytime she comes to Ohio, she goes, well, what should I wear, and this and that. And I said, well, the bad thing about Ohio is that it's like, Ohio is like that boyfriend that you can just never, you never know what one day he's hot, one day he's cold. You never know what you're going to get with him. So Oh, geez, Dave. You know what? I'm not even going to finish the rest of the song. Um, but I just said, I go, Ohio's like that. Ohio, one day you're going to have sunshine, the next day you're going to have snow. It's just like that unreliable boyfriend. One day he'll show up, the next day he won't, the next day he'll call, the next day he won't. You just never know what you're going to get with Ohio weather, right? Yeah, exactly. Like 7 seasons in one day. That's exactly what it's like here. And so when we do get sunshine and warm weather, we're like, yay, that's a good thing. Um, but we all, and that was one of the things that I had on my list to talk about today, is because when I was my son was out, um, he's taken up skateboarding uh, as a hobby, and he's always into something. So he got into skateboarding, and he was showing me some of the new stuff that he had learned on his skateboard. And while he was doing that last night, um, one of our neighbors who has lived here for, oh gosh, like, I think they moved in 2017. And they, the one dad had flagged me down when I come home from work and said that, he's like, hey, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, oh gosh, that's never, typically good, the way he said it anyways. I mean, I talk to him all the time, but just the way he said it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And he's like, hey, he's like, I just wanted to let you know. He's like, we're moving. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, he's like, I know. He's like, we sold, and they ended up selling their house, and they're going to be moving, and like by the end of the month, and they've been here over 10 years or whatever. So they moved in after we had moved in, and they had a little boy, and so we've seen their little boy grow up, and our son has grown up with their one daughter, and so it's one of those, we live in a cul-de-sac as well, and you always get kind of nervous, like, oh gosh, who's gonna move in, in you always just get kind of nervous, like, gosh, who's gonna move in next, and who's the new neighbors, and they're a very, very good family, and I had another family that was on the down the other street from us, and I was very, very close with that family, and love that family dearly, very, very dearly, very, very good friend of mine, and they ended up Coco Chanel, always getting in trouble. She's gonna knock over my ring light over there. Anyways, but very, very good friend of mine, and they ended up leaving. It's been probably a little over a year now. And, that one, like, really, really broke my heart. But, it's just one of those things where, you expect the, your neighbors and stuff, like, you expect people to, like, live there forever. Right. And when they, say that they're leaving and stuff, you're just kind of like, you almost feel like you're being left behind. I know, and it kind of sounds stupid, right? Because you're like, yeah, people move on and so forth, but it's kind of like, wait, you're leaving me behind. I definitely felt that way with my one friend that left, like now it's been a year, because again, like her daughters grew up with my daughter, and then I'm very close with her, and then with her husband, who unfortunately he passed. It's been 2 years now, but very, very close with that family, and just absolutely love them dearly. So I that them moving was very hard, but you just, again, you think that everybody's gonna stay forever, and so are you, but then you kind of think, like, start thinking, like, gosh, what's going to be the next step in your life? Should you move? The moderator and I were talking about that earlier today, and it's like, gosh, everybody's moving. is that something we should be thinking about? Because housing prices are good now, but it's like, where do you want to move? And I mean, I know that my next stages in life, like I'd like to move somewhere close to the water, and um, you know, that would be amazing. I'd love to live, somewhere where I could be, live, on the water or whatever, which would be ideal, but that's awfully expensive. Um, that would be amazing. I mean, even when we were up in Boston, all those houses that sat, on the water, and especially, gosh, Martha's Vineyard, which there's, yeah, I mean, I'd have to hit the lottery or really marry somebody really rich, um, in order for that to happen. And that's not in the cards anytime soon. But unless I play the lottery. So, I mean, which I guess I could play the lottery. Maybe that would happen. But I don't know if I'd want to move to Martha's Vineyard, though. It was nice, but not that, not that great, uh, that I would move there. But anyway, so it just, like I said, it gets you thinking, like when things like that happen, it gets you thinking, you know what? Hammond is close to the water. Oh, what's the, God, what the hell's the lake there? In Whiting. What's the Whiting Lake? What's the lake in Whiting? What the hell's the lake in Whiting? What's the lake in Whiting? The one with oh jeez. I'm trying to think of what it is. What's the big lake in Whiting? Not Lake Michigan, but like the one where they have the one festival in there. Wolf Lake. There it is. There it is. Yeah, you always live off of Wolf Lake. Or you could always just, go to Monticello, Indiana. That's another very nice place as well. But kind of rerouting back to the beginning where I wanted to start. 2 days ago on the 22nd, we had Bubba's 5th birthday. Happy birthday, Bubba. Michelle's Bubba 5th birthday. I'm sure I'm that his birthday gift has got to be getting there sometime soon. I should probably track that. But unfortunately, with the U.S. and customs, it takes like 20 something days to get anything from here to New Zealand. I bet they do. But yes, on the 22nd, Bubba turned 5 years old. So happy birthday, happy birthday, or happy belated birthday. But I saw this picture on your Facebook, Michelle, and I thought this was adorable. You had a few of them on there, so but I thought that was great, and so happy birthday there. And we have to remember that this week coming up, Violet is having her surgery. This is Violet, Dave and Patty's Violet. She is having her surgery this week, so everybody's got to keep her in their thoughts and prayers, because she's having a tooth removed back there. And we don't, anytime one of ours has to be put under, we always worry about that. So oh good, I'm glad you had a great day. Glad you had a great day. So this is little Violet in Chicago too, so she's going to have a little surgery this week. So but I believe she's in good hands. Now the flowers, I will say this, the flowers behind Violet were the anniversary flowers that Dave gave to Patty for their anniversary. So yes, exactly. Yeah, hopefully that'll go very, very well. She had some sort of broken tooth or something in the back, so they have to remove that. It was some kind of weird odd occurrence. So, but yeah, so definitely such a sweet little girl. So we will be thinking about her during all of that. So let me put that down there. But yes, and trying to yeah, and that was Martha's Vineyard. That's when we went to Martha's Vineyard. So, and we had such an amazing time. We were talking about that. The moderator and I were talking about that earlier today, and just how, we had that last week, and then coming back and jumping. Oh, it was a broken molar. That's what it was. Okay, so Violet has a broken molar. And they got to pull that out. Ugh, that's it. And again, anytime our dogs have to go under, that's just so, ugh, I mean, I'm sure she's going to be fine. I'm sure she's going to be fine, but we just always, always just, we always just worry. No matter what, we always worry about them. Absolutely. But what, is that Tuesday? It's Tuesday or Wednesday she's having the surgery, right? I thought you said it was like either Tuesday or Wednesday. But yeah, coming back from vacation and then hopping right back, I think I kind of did it right a little bit. We came back from vacation and then went right back. Oh, Wednesday. Okay. Wednesday. That's what I thought. And she comes home the same day, which is even better. So, because that I think that was probably one of the roughest parts of when Coco had her surgery as well, is when they have to stay overnight. Now, granted, now this is broken molars one thing, Coco's was a whole different thing, but when they have to stay overnight is, I mean, you worry enough, and then for them to be away, and it's just the whole thing is always just stressful. It's just always stressful because you just never know. But it's fun. I say that, and then I look over here at Rosie's laying here on the couch, right, sleeping. But she got in so much trouble last night. This little sweet angel right here got in so much trouble last night. And you're smiling when I do that. When they wake me up, the girls wake me up probably around, I don't know, like 2:30 in the morning every night. Like 2:30 in the morning, they wake me up to go out. They always have to go out to the bathroom at 2:30 in the morning. I don't know why, but they do. So they wake me up. I let them out, and we have a huge fenced-in backyard, right? So all I have to do is open the door, and they go running out. It usually takes them 2 seconds. They run out, they go to the bathroom, we come back in, we all go back up to bed. Okay, it's usually, again, less than a 5-minute process, not a big interruption to life. So this one right over here, usually Coco, where I think she ran back upstairs. Usually Coco is my troublemaker with everything. She is my troublemaker in life. But this one right here decided that when she was going out last night, that she was going to go and visit our neighbor next door. Has a possum that lives somewhere in his fence line. And I don't know if she caught the scent of it or what it was, but she went running for that fence. And I mean, she was just there. And I'm like, great. Because one time she went back there, and this was months ago. One time she went back there, and I had my flashlight and this and that, and Rosie and this stupid possum were like face to face. I mean, and granted, it was on the other side of the fence, but so I guess if the possum probably stuck its head through, it could probably get her. But I don't think the possum was going to be that stupid. But I mean, Rosie was on the scent, and Rosie would not leave that damn fence. And the bad thing was it was raining out, and I'm like, these dogs, it rains. They're prima donnas. They don't like to touch, the outside if it rains. So for her to be standing out in the rain with, anything going on for long periods of time, and I'm sitting there and I'm like yelling for her to come. I'm like, get in here. And she's just standing by that stupid fence. And I'm like, come on. And she would not come. I mean, I'm shaking treats, and I'm like, this damn dog. I'm like, she is going to make me go out in that damn yard, and put on shoes. And, yeah, I'm a normal person, I have like, you know, pajamas on that are, not like, appropriate to just go show the neighbors, so it's like I'm like, trying to like run out and, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You're right, Michelle. They were. Yeah, and they would go in holes and stuff. And yeah, though the rats and other small animals, they would go in holes and stuff and get things out. But I'm like, trying to find a pair of shoes. I'm like not dressed appropriate to go running in the yard in front of, God forbid neighbors were out at 2 o'clock in the morning. And, I'm like, in the rain on top of that, trying to get my damn dog who's, like fixated on some, possum that's in the yard. And I'm, with a stupid flashlight. And, and she's just over there, doing what she's, oh, God, I could have killed her. I could have killed her. And I was so mad. And I'm like, so finally I went and I snatched her up and I get her back at the house. And I'm just like, so probably it was maybe like 5:30. Um, that's when my son has to get up for school. They get up again and they have to go out and they all go running for the door, even her. And I'm like, oh no, we're not doing this again. So I put a leash on her and she goes running. And of course, I got her at a leash because I'm like, we're not doing this whole debacle again. And she was pissed. She was mad. And she was just like, she looked at me like I had just like broke her little heart. And I'm like, nope. I'm like, we're nope, not until you figure out that we are not doing this again. And so I know, I know, well, you know, even even when when they who was it? Trying to think of which ones. I think it had to be Rosie. Maybe it was Rosie a couple of years ago. It had to be Rosie a couple of years ago. She exactly checkmate. Yeah, exactly. I think it was Rosie a couple of years ago. She had found a dead bird or something in the yard, and she had brought it to the door, and she was just like, "I'm like, drop it, drop it." My my one boxer, Sammy, he was another one. I had to keep a damn broom in at my back door because he would go and these we get these stupid possums and he would go out and run and grab these things and they're not fast and he wouldn't kill them. He would grab them and then I would have to go chase him in the yard with a broom to drop them. And that was the only way I could get them to drop these things. And then they would drop, and then, you know, they would just lay there like they were dead, and I'd have to grab them. And it was this whole thing. But I mean, they think, they're dogs. Their instinct. I mean, my Sammy was the other. I was on a conference call for work. I'm walking through the yard. He comes running by me and jumps through the air and grabs a bird out of the air. And I'm like, what is happening? Um, so I mean, they're dogs. That's what they do, right? You just can't make it up. You can't make it up. Uh, but when we first got Coco, I was mortified. She found a mouse. She found a dead mouse. And I was like, "Oh my god," because I couldn't figure out what it was. She found a dead mouse because I was like, "What does she have?" I'm like, I saw something like in her mouth. I'm like, "What does she have?" And normally, Coco picks up everything. She picks up sticks, she picks up, all sorts of things. And so I always have to like grab her and get things out of her mouth. And I'm like, what is that in her mouth? And it was like something sticking out of her mouth. Well, it was a tail. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a mouse. And so I went to try to grab it out of her mouth, and she ate the damn thing. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I oh, oh my. You just like you can't you just can't you can't make some of it up. You really can't. And but It's comical. It really is. Yeah. It's comical. Like, and I was sitting there and I had to look it up. Michelle, I had to look it up because I'm like, she ate the whole thing whole. And I'm like, does it come out whole? Is she gonna get sick? Is she, I didn't know. I don't know what I didn't know what happens when a dog eats a whole mouse. Um, you know, I've never had that before. But clearly we had no issues. So I I, I never had dogs like that. So, um, it was a bit strange. It was a bit odd. But yeah, there we were. So yeah. Hello. Hi. Hi, Scott. Hello. Hi. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to Frenchie Friday. Am I single? No, no. How old am I? Well, I am older than 40. So, but thank you for asking. Um, thank you for asking. No, yes. Hi, Scott, but welcome, but no. Um, yeah, the moderator is very protective. So she will, if there's anything that looks sideways, she will delete it right away. She's you can't put anything. She'll delete it right away. I particularly don't care. She's very protective and will delete things right away. So, but anyways, so yeah, she's but that's why she's the moderator. So here we go. So anyway, so going back to what I was saying earlier. So this is one of the things that I was thinking about um, the coming back from well, actually I could get in before I get into all that. One of the things that the moderator was asking me too was she said, if speaking of age, since Scott 935 had brought it up, she had asked me, she said, she said, if you could go back to any specific age, like time, like 20s, 30s, 40s, um, it's a definition. Yeah, exactly. She said, if you could go back to any age, 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever, what age would you go back to and why? And so I guess that's a good, I guess it's a good question for the group. So if you had a choice to go back to any age group, what age group would you go to if you had the ability to? I said that I would go probably back to probably late 30s, early 40s, I would say. Probably mid to late 30s, I would say. If I had the ability to go and live time back into that time, I would say late 30s, probably mid to late 30s. And only because, and like I told her, because she's like, really, why? And 16 to 17. I said because that was a time when basically your 20s are out of your way, your first part of your 30s are out of your way, and you've lived a good part of your life and you've learned a lot. And basically, and you're really at a good financial point in your life, where you don't have a lot of the troubles that you did. Michelle says, you know what? That does not shock me. 14 and 15. Aw, love that. Yeah. You know what? That does not, Michelle, that does not shock me. Because I think that too. I think the older that we get, I think life gets better the older that we get. I honestly believe that. Because again, the more we live, I was living my best life until Scott got. Well, I wanted to see where it was going to go, and then the moderator kicked him out. I wanted to see what was happening there. But, whatever, she cut it off. I wanted to see what the next question was going to be. But 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 she has a zero tolerance policy on that stuff. Mm, but damn snowstorms. Um oh yeah, sure you will. Yeah, as a punishment to me, you'll let the next one keep going because the next one will probably be horrible. Um, but anyway, so yeah, I think I think that I think that the longer that we're here, and a lot of people, to me, it's a blessing. It's a blessing because not a lot of people make it this long. They don't. There's a lot of people that unfortunately pass away young, um, or unfortunately, you know, make a decision to take their life, which I find horrible. I mean, I really do. Um, I life is tough, and that is one thing that is for sure. Life is tough, and it is challenging. Um, but I you know I think life is so precious, and I think it is a beautiful thing. And um, gosh, I hate when people throw their life away. That just makes me so sad, because I believe that everybody's here for a reason, and we're all here for a reason, and we all have a job to do. So if you're not here, then who knows who knows what impact you can have for somebody else's life. So I mean, you could be Scott, and just just play him. But seriously though. So, anyways, but yeah, I thought that was a good question that she had earlier. I really did. I really did. um, I mean, it was a good question. What was a good age? And granted, too, like, you know, I I I loved growing up. I mean, looking now, and then looking, growing up, what I did before, cell phones and all that stuff. Yeah, that stuff is great, and it's convenient and it's fun and stuff like that. But I mean, it was, it was a simpler time. 80s and stuff were a simpler time. 80s, 90s, not a lot of noise. You know, you actually had to talk to people. You got pissed off at somebody, you could slam the phone down. That was kind of nice. Now you can't really do that. What do you can't slam the phone down anymore. Right? I mean, that was like a nice thing. They knew you were bad then. It was like boom, you could slam the phone down. You can't do that anymore. Um, but it like I said, now it's like we carry these phones with us everywhere we go. They're constantly a- attached to us. And it's funny because um I tell people all the time, or I'll tell people I'll turn my phone off when I'm different places, and they'll be like, well, what if somebody tries to get a hold of you? What if it's an emergency? And I like that one. I like when people say, what if it's an emergency? And I'm like, if it is an emergency, then I hope to God they're calling 911 before they call me. I mean, for God's sakes, if they're having an emergency, they better call the doctor before they're calling me. Um, because that would be the first thing, because I can't save anybody's life on, I can't. Unfortunately, I did not go to medical school. So if they're calling me, then they're calling the wrong person. But it's just, you know, it's same thing when I go to when we take a cruise. I'm taking a cruise in September too, and people say the same thing. Well, what happens if you're on a cruise? Because you could take your phone on a cruise, and you can have phone service and so forth, and but it costs extra and all that stuff. And so it's kind of nice to be able to turn your phone off. But somebody, people are like, what happens if somebody dies when you're on a cruise and you don't know? And I'm like, well, if somebody dies when I'm on a cruise, I kind of hope people don't tell me. wait till I get back, you know, I mean, kind of tell me when I get home. Um, and plus I can't do anything when I'm out there anyways. What am I going to do? Just there's nothing you can do. So, Michelle says 90s were good. Internet was new. Music was free. Yeah, that's true. Vet fees were affordable. Yep. Yep. And adoption fee. Yeah. Yeah. That, Patty, that's true. What adoption fees were, what, 50 bucks, maybe 75. A friend of mine at work. Well, shit. Well, no, Coco. I was going to say, what was Coco? Coco was reasonable. I think Coco was $150. And that was through that was through Licking County. Yeah, she was $150. And that included her spading. Now, the one rescue that a friend of mine just tried to go through, that was, what did he say? I want to say, and that was a French Bulldog rescue. And their adoption fees were $550 to $600. Now, with that being said, they also not only spay or neuter, but with the French Bulldogs, they'll also do the NARS, or the Bose surgery. So that, I hate to say it, that's kind of a perk, because just to do the Bose surgery, I mean, that's like a $2,000-$3,000 surgery right there. So, Dave says that's why he turns his phone off when he goes to bed. Well, Dave and Patty should never be turning off their phone. They should always have their phone on. Just in case I call, they should always have their phone on. They should never have their phone off. So they should always have their phone on, because, yeah, whenever I call, people always should have their phone on. It's unacceptable to have your phone off if I'm calling. Move back home. Oh, no, you guys should move to Ohio. You know what? Yeah, rent is horribly. Yes, you. No, you're telling Brittany to move back home. Oh no, she's not welcome back home. She needs to stay on her own. No, but rent, rent is extremely high. She's got the moderator has a one bedroom, beautiful apartment. And, she pays over $1,400 a month. And, I mean, I'm not sure what it is in like Canada or New Zealand for apartments and so forth, but she has a beautiful one bedroom apartment, and it's over $1,400 a month. Typical 2-bedroom apartments here in Ohio are anywhere from, they can range from $1,500 to $2,000 depending on the area. So, I mean, it could be pricey for an apartment. So, is it the same out there as well? Yeah, but it never used to be that way. I mean, back when, gosh, and when I had an apartment way back when the moderator was a baby, I mean, it was, gosh, what, $600-$700, maybe $725, if that. So that was, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, that's one thing that one thing that's changed. That's one thing that's changed with the times. And same thing with I was thinking about this earlier too. After we came back from vacation, I jumped back into work and all that too, and you go from being like de-stressed from, you get, a nice vacation and it was relaxing and everything. And then you go back to work and it's just like, the stress piles on again. And I love my job. I'm a supervisor and I love my job. And I have a really, really good time with it. And, but it's extremely stressful. And, so it's interesting too, because $90 a month. Wow, that's a real bargain. Um, but it's interesting too because I was thinking earlier, um, you know, when I started in, when I started in corporate America back, when I was early 20s, I started in corporate America. I was a paralegal in downtown Chicago, and um, it was completely different. Your supervisors, your managers, uh, they didn't care about you. They didn't, you know, give two shits if you were getting married, having kids. They didn't care about any of that stuff. They cared about was that you showed up for work, that you were doing your job. That's what they cared about. And it, my my job as a paralegal was like a love-hate relationship. I loved, I loved the law. I loved that position. But it was extremely tough. The attorneys I worked for were very, they were very strict. I learned a lot. Uh, there was a lot of yelling. There was a lot of, it's not like now. I mean, if I talked to my team the way that those people talk to me, I'd be fired. I would be fired. There is no way that the standards back then could hold up the way now. It wouldn't. It wouldn't. There's no way. There's no way. Wait, my first home was a homestead on a farm. Oh, wow. Oh, you helped out by milking cows. I would love that. I don't. You know what? I've never milked a cow, but I bet it would be fun. I bet that would be fun. Um, but yeah, like I mean, there's just so the way that the world has changed from like the 80s 90s corporate to now, and just how, like, again, the way people are treated. And again, I love what I do, and I love the way that, again, I'm a supervisor, and I'm very invested in my team. Mostly because I'm a people person, and the majority of my team, they're under, I would say probably under 32 years old. The majority of them, and so I get to see a lot of their, I get to live with them through a lot of their first marriages, their first uh, children, their first, you know, loss of grandparents, their first homes, all of their firsts. And, and I get to help them with so many different things, which is nice. So, but again, I, I get to be a part of that in their lives where, again, before, like, my managers and supervisors didn't even care about stuff like that. So, I mean, I enjoy being part of their life, and I enjoy letting them know that, I care about them and in that part of their life, and especially like their pets, and, making them buy pets, and or coercing them into buying pets, and especially coercing them into, taking that next step to, get engaged, or all that good stuff. So, well, you know what? Yeah, Michelle said milking cows today is done differently. Yeah, it is, because I think there's a lot of them are just, they go into little stalls, and isn't it all done by machines usually? I know that there's a place in Indiana. Um, oh, what is it? Oaks Farm, Royal Oaks Farm. There's a place, I believe it's called Royal Oaks Farm, and the cows like know what to do. There's a certain time the cows will get up, and they go into the little things, and they walk to where they're supposed to go. And yeah, oh, Fair Oaks Farm. That's what it is. And they will go, and they'll go in the little thing, and they go in their little chutes, and then the little machines all hook up. It's like they know what to do. Oh, wow. But see, let me ask you this. And now I know that there, speaking of free milk, I know that there's like, is there like controversy over like, can you just drink drink it once it just comes from the cow, or does it have to be like, do you have to do something with it once it's done? Do they have to do something with it, or can you just drink it from the cow? Because I had seen something on YouTube or something where like people were selling it like straight from the cow, and they were saying you can't do that or you can do that, or I don't know. So I was like, are you allowed to do that? Or maybe that's just a thing where with the FDA, I don't know. So can you just drink it straight from the cow, or do you have to do something with it before you can drink it? I don't know. But like I said, there was this huge thing on YouTube I had seen, because I think there was some people that were just like doing that. They had cows, they were milking them, and they were selling it. And then some people stepped in and they're like, you can't do that because of wait, from the cow if you wait, from the cow if you are a calf. What? I don't know what that means. Oh, well, okay, so oh, if you're a baby cow, okay, I get that, but like I'm saying, like if people drink it, like so if you milk a cow, can you just drink it from like can you just take it, put it in a bottle and drink it, or is there something that has to be done with it? Like do you have to do something to it or no? Because like I said, I'd seen where these people were milking the cows and then selling it to people, but then they were saying that that could get you sick doing it that way. You have to do something to it. I'm like, I don't know. I've never had milk where it's from a just straight from the cow where it hasn't gone through some sort of I pasteurization, I guess. Okay, so this okay, some organic, and I think that that's what it was, Michelle. I think it was like some organic thing, and then but they were getting criticized because they were saying it could be like bacteria or something. I don't know. I don't, who knows? It was just weird. It was an odd kind of situation, but um, I mean, I'm assuming it would be, I mean, I guess milk and eggs are different, but I mean, the same thing. Like people have farm fresh eggs, they walk out and grab the eggs and, just take them over and sell it. Yeah, pasteurization. Um, but it would be kind of like the same thing, right? You just walk out to the thing. Okay. Okay. So they used, okay. Now it has to be passed, probably because of the FDA. That's what I'm assuming. But I mean, it would probably, but everything's got to be monitored, right? Which I guess is good. Um, but I'm sure there's like maybe we have a lot of different towns around here that have Amish populations. I'm assuming they probably put that in cheese and all sorts of things, because I know that they do the farm fresh milk and all that. Now I don't know if they sell it that way. I don't know. I haven't been in an Amish store recently, so I am not sure. I haven't been in one in a while. So um oh, one other thing too. When um this was something I noticed difference too is uh the interviewing process. Um the interviewing process was completely changed. The idea is to build immunity. You know, okay, and that makes sense. But and you would think, kind of, Michelle, that you would think too that I would think that we're probably, hmm, I would think that we would the older we are, we would probably have a pretty good immunity to the bacteria. Now, maybe kids might not be, but I would think like adults would be, don't you? That's what I would think anyways. Because I mean, the older we are, the more that we've put in our bodies and so forth, more crap that we've had. I mean, I'm sure if we've eaten McDonald's, we're probably pretty immune to anything, right? Probably immune to all sorts of bacteria. Mm, that would make sense, right? I mean, something, there's probably, not too much that would take us out at this point. I mean, and then we all went through COVID, and if if you got COVID or if you didn't get COVID, um, I I I got I how many times did I get I got COVID. Um, the one time was bad, but not too bad. No, I've got it twice. So I got it once during the COVID and then another time, but not horrible, horrible. And then my son got it the one time, but he showed no symptoms to it. He was just got it. Um, right. Good bacteria and bad bacteria. Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's what I'm saying. Like even after, even after we went through COVID and all that, I'm sure we're immune to a lot of things. Um, because we're so exposed to everything. That's the crazy thing about the world. I mean, pollution and smoke and, now vaping stuff and chemicals and all sorts of things. So there's all, amazing what we're exposed to. So, um, oh, you know what? Um, I never did say this when for my little Frenchie find when we were in Salem. We did go to the Witch City Tattoos, and I know I had it on, I think, my Instagram or Facebook or whatever, but um, the moderator and I did get our Witch City tattoos there because we wanted to have something to remember the trip by. So I got this little witch with a French bulldog, which I'll have a better picture on my thing, but it's a witch with a little French bulldog. So like, as the guy at work says, he's like, oh, it looks like you and Rosie. Um, and then the girl that did it, she was so nice. Her name was Heather Stout with Witch City Tattoos. And then the moderator got this real cute little snail with a witch's hat on it. But yeah, I thought it was so cute. Like I said, I'll have it on my Facebook and the Instagram and so forth. But she did such a good job. I thought it was so cute. And the guy at work's like, oh yeah, that looks just like you. I'm like, great, you're calling me a witch. So that was nice. But yeah, the lady did such a good job. Lady, she was a young girl, very, very, very nice. So, and great artist, very, very great artist. So if anybody's ever in the Boston area, definitely check her out. Her name was Holly Stout. Holly Stout. I'm sure the moderators over there going, Holly. Yeah, Holly Stout. Very, very talented artist. And just absolutely, absolutely wonderful. So I'll post her stuff in the information on the, what do you call it? Description on the page here too. But another thing before we get off here too, the moderator got me something, and I don't know if Dave and Patty will remember this, but when I was a kid, I really enjoyed the Dukes of Hazzard, and for anybody that remembers the Dukes of Hazzard, and I got for my birthday, the one time I got the Boss Hog doll, and I was so excited about that doll. And the moderator found me the doll, and she bought this for me, and I was so excited. So, um, thinking, oh, you should. You could not sit through that, Dave. I don't think you could. But yes, so the moderator got me a Boss Hog doll, just like kind of like the one I had when I was a kid. So I appreciate it. It was Dave, you could not sit there and have all of your grandchildren and great grandchildren tattooed on your body, and you would never do that. You would never. You're just saying that because you know you don't like tattoos. Um, but you should get a running deer. You should get a running deer. But anyway, so we will. Oh yeah, so we can all join the circus now. We can all join the circus. Was what did what did you get, Michelle? What did you get? You'll never see them. Yes, my first one was at the age of 18, and it was a ladybug, and yeah, it was just a little small ladybug, and I wasn't going to tell my parents that I got a tattoo, um, but unfortunately, when when I left the tattoo place, uh, I got on the expressway. Uh-oh. when I got when I got on the expressway to come home, I got hit by a car, and so I had to tell my father that I was in a car accident, and he wondered why I was over in the area. Um, that I got in the car accident was because the area where I got hit was not a normal area that I would have normally been in. And so I had to explain why I was over in that area. And so I had said that my boyfriend at the time had gotten a tattoo in that area. And that's why we were over there. And then my father said, "And where's yours?" So then I had to show him the ladybug tattoo that I had, and then he kicked my boyfriend out of the house, and then proceeded to tell him, proceeded to have words about the ladybug tattoo that I had. So that was my first tattoo at the age of 18 or 19. So, yep, that's yes, that was a rather traumatic experience. Needless to say, don't get in car accidents after you get tattoos. Now, granted, it wasn't a bad car accident. It was just a side swipe, but it was definitely memorable. And thank God my mother was out of town. I did it while my mother was out of town, and so I always seem to do that when my mom was out of town. I got a tattoo when my mom was out of town. I dyed my hair blonde when my mom was out of town. I did a lot of things when my mom was out of town. My poor dad had to always put up with that stuff and deal with that whenever my mom was out of town. So God love him. God love him. He had to, he had to always probably explain to her what happened, why I went astray while she was gone. So, but anyways, all right. Well, we are at the hour and 4 mark. Tuesday is our Pet Loss Tuesday. I appreciate everybody coming on today. You all are wonderful. Love everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on again. Went mad when we. Oh, right. You know what? My dad took me to get my ears pierced. Yeah, my dad took me to get my ears pierced at Merle Norman. I remember that. That was a great day. I remember that. Yep. That was a very special moment. Get my ears pierced. Now I got one ear pierced up here one time, and that hurt like hell. I never did it again. I never ever got any other uh, like piercings like that up again. Um, the moderator got me to do the one over here, and then other than that, I never got anything else again. I'm not a big piercings person. That no. But anyway, so all right, we will be back on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Pet Loss Tuesday. I hope everybody can come back on Tuesday. 7 o'clock. Lola's being so good. Oh, you are good. Good. You know, we can do that. We can arrange that. We can arrange that. So Tuesday, I hope everybody comes back on Tuesday. Please hit the like, subscribe button. Please tell all your friends about us. Thank you. Everybody have a great week until Tuesday. I hope everybody comes back. Please, please, please. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, poor Scott that got banned. Thank you, Patty and Dave. Violet, I hope you have a good surgery. Bubba, we love you in New Zealand. We will hopefully we'll see everybody back on Tuesday, and I hope everybody has a good night and a great rest of your weekend. So have a good night. See y'all later. Bye.